y'all ever find like an opening to a sewer and watch like turds go down there?
Oh,
like yeah, that used to be a thing we'd do. Like sit at its opening to a sewer and like count turds going by.
Enchilada. That's how you learn to count.
That's what we did for fun. Enchilada. Yeah.
One, two, three.
I made just a joke once in one of my videos about me and my.
I'll use such an apology for all the fucking slander about having a Dairy Queen and shit. Because
they're the liberal rednecks. They like cornbread, but sex they care way too much, but don't give a fuck. They're the liberal rednecks that makes some people upset, but they got 3 big old dicks that you can suck.
Well, here we are.
Indeed, yeah. Here we are.
Hey, everybody. It's almost sold out, and it's coming up soon. Me and Drew Boy over there are in Athens, Georgia, February 16th at Hinder Shots with Patterson Hood of the Drive-By Truckers. We're sort of closing out the Heathens Homecoming weekend. It's going to be a blast. I can't wait.
Get those tickets, because we held off on really pushing it to the Heathens, the people who will already be in town all weekend who are obsessed with Patterson, in an attempt to let the WellRed universe get their tickets. But, you know, it's been a week. Do what you got to do. But once we put it on their radar, they ain't going to go on that day anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we ain't worried about it's going to sell out. We ain't worried about that. We're just worried about y'all getting the tickets. So you can grab them at CoreyRyanForrester.com along with my other dates to see me in Atlanta and Charleston. Trae is actually going to be in Charleston a couple days before me. Where you finna be?
Well, firstly, I'll be in Salt Lake City, and then Kentucky, Louisville, and Bowling Green, and then I'll be in Charleston, Raleigh, and Charlotte, and a whole bunch of other places after that, including in Knoxville with Drew and in Chattanooga with Corey. So go to TraeCrowder.com and check all that out and come see me out there.
Hey, Drew, you got anything aside from what I just said?
No. Well, you and Trae encapsulated the main 2 dates I have coming up. I'm on a bit of a hiatus.
Hell yeah, it's fun.
I might be moving, so anyway, y'all go ahead.
Moving.
Listen to Gravy Baby.
Yeah, listen to Gravy Baby. Listen to Putting on Airs, listening to Weekly Skews. Yeah, you moving?
Well, it's not we can talk about it later. It's not a podcast combo at the moment.
I hear you.
Okay.
Spain, I hope.
I got a buddy, but that reminds me, I got a comic and comedy writer friend who I met during the strikes and stuff, who's opened for me a couple times, and he just texted me out of the blue yesterday. He was like, "Hey, did you know that I moved to Antigua?" And I was like, "What? No,
I thought that was a fake Beach Boys town."
No, it's a real Beach Boy place.
Yeah,
it's in the Caribbean, I reckon, and yeah, he just, I guess, said, "Fuck this shit," and went to the islands, which is it's one of those things that people always, but also, I don't know how maybe he might have had to have had some kind of something. You can't just do that, right? Like,
no, I mean,
you can't just go a place. I guess it depends on the place. I don't know how any of that
depends
works
on what kind of visa you get. I mean,
I'm immigration dumb, but
I know
he's married with a small child and everything, and they just said, "Fuck it," and went to the islands. So,
dude,
some people be doing that.
You know, I love what we do in the sense that you kind of can live wherever you want. And especially now with the internet, like, it's more that than it has ever been because of the internet. And I've always been someone that was like, you know, if I had an opportunity somewhere, I wouldn't mind going. But I was like, well, but Amber be like, living around here, whatever, all our families here, yada, yada. Dude, Amber, I don't know if it's just because the world looks all doom and gloom. She, like, every other day she'll bring up, she's like, "Hey, what about New Zealand? We could go over there, couldn't we?
Live there.
Yeah, she'll see a random place on TikTok, and she's like, I mean, you could do what you do over there, right? And I was like, I mean, I could figure it out somehow. I don't know.
But they have a citizenship by investment program, which is kind of what I figured.
In New Zealand?
No.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they don't want us. It's probably more than right.
No. I think New Zealand, I'm pulling this out of my ass, but I feel like it's one of the hardest places to get into.
Every place has that program if you're a billionaire.
Right.
Who has a citizenship by investment? Oh, okay.
So I would say your buddy has started doing that. The other theory that I have, they are part of, what's it called? I saw it a minute ago and I've heard of it before. The something of nations. It's like a lot of former colony, British specifically, that are all, Bermuda's one of them. And like, they got pretty friendly visa stuff with anyone who's part of the Commonwealth. So is it perchance that this buddy's wife is Australian or Canadian?
I think they're both black, and his parents are. I'm saying I think he might have a mammal or
Australian
something.
then.
No.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't ask him. I just know that he's down there. But yeah, I don't think it's a colonial thing. But
Well, now you got me thinking he might have it in a different way.
yeah, right, like a mammal or something who's
Yeah.
from there. Yeah, I mean, he's from the Bay Area, and his dad is from Alabama. So, but their parents,
This guy rules.
you have no idea. He's also like
When you
he's
said,
wild as hell. He's
as soon as you
jacked.
said he was black, he went up a couple notches.
Right.
You know,
He's like jacked. He works on TV shows and is also a comedian and did a bunch of wild shit. Or he was on, I think he was on like So You Think You Can Dance or something. He was like a professional dancer when he was younger. He's wild
the
as
fuck
hell.
out.
And he just moved to, yeah. He's one of them people that pisses you off, really.
Right. He just hits at
Uh,
everything.
But
He
he's
lives on an island with his beautiful family.
yeah, but he's super nice, so you can't like
Oh, wow.
really be pissed at him. But he's,
Right.
you know,
I got a buddy
man,
like
fuck
that.
you. Or you just hit so hard at everything.
It does sort of make you mad when, like, especially when a comedy writer is like jacked and pretty and
Yeah,
can also
right.
dance.
Not
You're like,
supposed to
hold
be
on,
that-
we got into
supposed to
this because
be-
we couldn't do those things.
Comedy writers, especially, man, supposed to be just
Yeah.
trolls. You know,
Yeah.
like
Right. Because again, you get into that because you couldn't do, people
shove
made
them in
fun
a
of you
broom
for
closet,
not, yeah,
have them
people
turn out
made,
jokes for a while.
yeah, people made fun of you for not having any other skills and being a nerd. So you started writing about it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously the classic thing. Maybe it was like this dude played sports, but also was a dancer. So the dancers were like, get a load of this jock who sucks and is stupid. And then the jocks were like, look at this queer dancer. So he was like a man without a country. He
maybe.
didn't fit in either place. And he decided that the way he would endear himself to both them and them is, via jokes.
Dude, I'm glad you just said that. You just reminded me of a thing I've been wanting to talk about. You said that queer dancer or whatever. So I just started and stopped a George Bush documentary. I stopped basically because I could tell, like, oh, this is just a fucking jerk off job. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not really into that. Like, especially about Bush. Like,
Was Bush into, first of all, which Bush? And secondly, was he into queer dance when he was younger?
Yeah, well, no, he was a cheerleader, right? And I think I'd heard that at one point, but like had totally forgot about it because
Like
like
at Yale?
when at Yale, yeah,
Had to be,
Yale,
yeah.
like, and the thing was like he wanted to play baseball. Like his dad, basically the whole structure of the first act of this documentary is that George W. Bush attempted at every turn to emulate his dad's career, but every step that he took, he was a lesser version of that, whether it be when he was in the, when he served, it was in the Coast Guard, whereas his dad was literally a fighter pilot fucking hero, and when he struck out into the oil business, like his dad really hit at that, and George Bush had like the 978th biggest oil refinery in Texas. It was just like didn't work, and all sorts of stuff. And then it's like he goes
got
to
that
Yale.
second term though. You got him.
Absolutely,
He got him on that. And
I'm pretty sure that's where this whole thing is heading. Is like, but scoreboard.
But
But
his dad tried to make Jeb the candidate apparently because of all this. And
yeah, right. George was like doted on as a kid and was like Barbara's favorite because he was a cut up little shit. Like George Bush is like the classic example of like, man, if you hadn't have like just went into politics, if you'd have just been the baseball commissioner like you wanted to be, you would you could be a universally beloved dude because he's kind of funny, charming.
people always say that. Was that
just
on
like
the?
literally by his brother.
What?
If you'd have just done what you should have done.
Was that?
Right.
But people always say that about the baseball commissioner thing. Was that on the table for him?
I think
Because
that's
it's so
the thing
wild
is like
how the lives that these people lead, like
Yeah,
the
I
American
do.
elite or whatever. It's like, it's like, why couldn't you have just been the commissioner of Major League
But for
Baseball?
real.
And he was like, well, that wasn't good enough for me. I chose president instead
Right.
to make father proud. Father would have looked down upon me if I had only been the commissioner of Major League Baseball. It's like, what
Right.
the fuck?
I'm pretty
ridiculous,
sure,
dude.
I'm pulling this out of my ass, but from what I kind of remember hearing, it's like, yeah, I think it was like he did want to do that, and it's hard for me to believe that he couldn't have pulled that off, considering who he was or whatever. But yeah, that there was a lot of like internal pressure to like go into politics. Maybe if it wasn't like necessarily coming from his dad's mouth, it was just like everyone, your dad's such a fucking hero, not to us, but to so many people, like, you got to try to do this thing. And any fucking ways, he goes to Yale and he wants to play baseball like his dad, but he don't hit as hard at baseball as his dad. Now, granted, none of us remember anything about George H.W. Bush's baseball career, but we all remember George W. Bush throwing that heater down the goddamn middle after 9/11. So I think he's still got a better baseball career. But he gets there, he can't do it. And so, but he wants to do something in athletics, so he became a male cheerleader. My point being, there's obviously nothing wrong with that. One of my buddies, who's one of the manliest dudes I know, was a cheerleader in high school because he liked picking girls up and stuff. All I'm saying is, if a Democratic goddamn nominee for president came out now and had been a former cheerleader, that would be a huge fucking deal. That would be the biggest, like, and he's going to come in and indoctrinate people, and it's woke and blah, blah, blah. And it just sort of, no one gave a fuck then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that, because I was going to say, yeah, well, of course they didn't give a fuck back then, but really back then people gave way more of a fuck about most things.
It's just the internet didn't exist.
Like, you couldn't do anything. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I never remember knowing that.
And there you go.
So,
and there you go.
Be as simple as that. But y'all had high school male cheerleaders?
We had one. It was literally only one.
It was his idea. That's pretty funny.
It is, but he was also the best football player. He wasn't. He did the. He held him up in competition, basketball, and in competitions and stuff. So like that was the thing. He got away with it because it's my buddy Eddie's brother. Like, he was the best football player. Yeah, I thought y'all knew. I thought y'all knew Eddie. Anyways, he was badass football player. Like, super nice guy. Like, one of those, wouldn't hurt a fly, but certainly could murder everybody. And it was kind of one of those, like, I don't think, what are you going to say to this guy? Like, no one's going to make fun of him because they know, like, again, he was like all-state fucking linebacker. And he was like, yeah, what of it? I want to grab girls' butts during basketball because I don't play basketball. You know what I mean? And he was strong, and he'd just sit there and just hold up fucking 2 bill bitches, with one hand, because we had some big girls at cheerleading, this is the South.
I bet.
They didn't make him lift the fat girls. I appreciate you.
They didn't make him.
Your buddy his flowers, but he didn't lift the fatties.
No, they didn't make him. He wanted to. Hit for him.
I don't believe it.
Hit for him. Test the strength.
They normally don't let the fattens get up in the air like that.
No, it's just like.
No, I was just hitting.
They the bottom of the pyramid.
Right.
The 200-pound girls weren't the fat ones, though, is what I'm trying to get at.
It's like when you have to go to the Christmas play. All the fat kids are shepherds. Only the pretty get to be angels. Only the pretty cheerleaders get to fly.
The real fat kid, they paint him green. He a bush. Yeah.
Rock.
I was the water boy. Who were you in the Easter pageant?
Me?
Yeah.
Jesus. No, he's a baby.
It was Joseph.
Wait, Easter. Isn't Jesus dead?
We didn't do Easter. We did Christmas.
We did Christmas, but Easter was the big one because our preacher played Jesus.
So somebody does play Jesus? Okay.
Yeah, our preacher did. And so they showed him getting nailed to a cross and everything right there in front of and I was Pontius Pilate's water boy. That was because my papa was Pontius Pilate, and everybody
had to take a look into that pastor's search history.
He's pretty boring. You'd say. I mean, yeah, maybe.
Got himself getting nailed in front of everybody.
Yeah, it was
There's
a whole
something in there, dude.
And my godfather Robbie's dad, he got to play the Roman that speared him in the side, and they sort of had a little kind of falling out. And boy, he used to come in there stiff, son. I mean, I think sometimes it was a shoot. You know what I mean? He'd hit him with that fucking rod. Just you, Jesus. Never were Jews. It was always Romans. We.
That's some wild shit right there.
Yeah, church is crazy.
But you said never were Jews. It was Romans. I thought the prevailing wisdom on the part of evangelicals was that, like Pontius Pilate, for example, or the other Romans, that it was like, well, basically that really it was all the Jews' fault. That they that the Romans were just kind of victims of circumstance.
I'm here to tell you that may be for some people, but at my church, I'd never heard that in my life until Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ came. I swear to God. Like, I swear to God, it was always the Romans. They never said nothing about the Jews. Matter of fact, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm certain that if they knew they could be this, there would have been plenty of anti-Semites in our congregation. But like nobody knew no Jews, and also they were
they know no Romans neither.
That's true, but in the Bible, it was the Romans that did the thing. But also, like they were
was it? I'm Bible dumb.
The Romans are the one that stabbed him.
This, Drew.
Yeah, the Romans are the one that stabbed him and shit.
But I always thought, I don't know. I thought the Jew, again, I got that story I've told a million times about my ex-girlfriend's evangelical uncle telling his 4-year-old that, yes, the Jews did kill Jesus.
The Jews didn't like him because he went against their beliefs.
But the version of it that's in Mel Gibson's movie is in there I'm not saying the Jews killed Jesus. I'm saying the evangelical stance on it generally is that it was the Jews, right?
Let me tell you what the Bible says.
Mm-hmm.
No, it don't hit. Yeah, go ahead.
No, please.
Well, that was what you were saying. You were confused about. I thought you were like, wait a minute, is that not what the Bible says?
Well, I am confused now. I just thought,
So what the Bible says, and this is like the story, I'm not saying this is what happened, but there's not, like, as far as I know, there's not really an alternative to this out there. There's no one red-pilled about the story, this particular aspect of Jesus' life. I don't think. I'm sure it is. But what the Bible says is that, and this is kind of how Rome worked. Let me take it back to how Rome worked for a second. Rome would conquer people and then be like, we're going to murder all of you unless you just kind of become one of our states.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, right.
Where Jesus was a conquered area. And so,
yeah,
Judea, it was absolutely Jewish leaders who were basically like, we don't like what this dude's saying. And the story goes, they went to Pilate and was like, who was a Roman in charge.
Right.
And they're like, this dude, you got to put him in jail. And the whole thing of him washing his hands clean was him being like, I can't figure out why.
Yeah.
Like, you're telling me this stuff he did, but like, it ain't blasphemy, it ain't whatever, right?
It was Pilate being like, I don't believe that this should be happening to this guy, but everyone else feels like it should be, so I'm going to make y'all happy, but please no blood on my hands.
Right.
Well, the way he did that was they got mad at him, and he was afraid his little outpost he was going to have to call in the big guns, and that don't look good, right? Like, you can't handle some Jews? What the fuck, Pilate? So he said, all right, we have this tradition every whatever holiday.
Yeah, they pardon a guy.
Yes.
And then Barabbas.
And that's where the Barabbas stuff and all that comes in.
But why did they say Barabbas instead of Jesus? And who said that?
Because they wanted Jesus to go down.
Yeah, right. It was the Jews. I'm doing air quotes. The locals, the Jew, were the ones who voted for Jesus instead of Barabbas.
Barabbas was just their boy.
Yes,
and it was them saying.
I'm pretty sure his charge was blasphemy.
Yeah.
And
Jesus' charge was blasphemy. I thought Barabbas had murdered somebody.
Yeah,
correct?
Barabbas was like a real nasty motherfucker, right?
Yeah, he had supposedly killed somebody, I think.
Which isn't that also part of Pilate's thing? Is it's
like really?
There's no way they're going to pick
worse?
This guy over this dude. This dude's a real bad motherfucker. Like he was trying to engineer it where clearly they would pick Barabbas to be, and then was shocked when they weren't.
So I am surprised to learn. I don't really remember anyone in my church was very odd, I feel like, though, but I don't remember anyone being like the Jews or the Romans, but I definitely remember it being like his own people, and I knew what that meant, and it wasn't the Romans.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've never really heard that. I never heard of a church being like hardcore, and it was the Romans who did it.
Well, by the way, they didn't.
Here.
It's not like they were going fuck the Romans. They just said it as like the Romans did that. Like they never said we don't like any Romans because the Romans did that. Like they just were like, here's the characters. They're the Romans. They're the ones that stabbed Jesus, or whatever. Like it was never. I never heard anybody say it was the Jews that did this. And trust me, I remember that because I remember all the anti-black shit that they said. But like also, I mean, you got to understand, like these people. They toe this crazy line because like they are super hardcore pro-Israel. You know what I mean? Like insanely pro-Israel. And like I even heard the people at my church, like the Jews are the chosen people or whatever. And like, that is Holy Land. That's where, Jesus was born, buried, whatever the fuck. And so, but again, I really do believe that like, and this goes back to the Bush cheerleader, no internet thing. Like they didn't have access to all this anti-Jew stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure now it's like that, but like they didn't know that they could hate Jews because they didn't know any, and like it just never. Also, all those people firmly believed in the Holocaust. Like that was, they were all fuck Hitler. He did it was a different time, man.
A lot of them are still like that. I mean, that's like a big part of like the support for Israel currently. I mean, that, and obviously it's supposed to usher in the book of the Revelation. But
yeah,
I mean, if we're going to talk about the apocalypse, we might as well get into it as far as transition go.
That's another thing. I'll hear these people like talking out both sides of their mouth. Like you'll hear someone say something like, "What's happening in Palestine is a genocide," right? And then one of these people will go like, using the word genocide to describe what's going on is a slap in the face to what the Jews went through in the Holocaust. And then they'll be like, which, by the way, those numbers are completely inflated and we don't even know if it was real or not. It's like they want to get both points in. Like they barely believe in the Holocaust, but they won't allow you to call the Palestinian thing a genocide because it's offensive to the Holocaust.
I've never run across that particular person. I feel like you're potentially talking about two different types.
Dan Blazarian
type of insane person.
Yeah. The Dan Blazarians of the world. That jacked fucking Nazi.
Honestly, dude, the Aryans of the world, that's like one big split they're having or issue they're having right now with everything. It's like it should be their day, but they're like, but they keep letting the goddamn Jews in the club. And if nothing else, we should enjoy that on a personal level.
That's a good point, because they're all like, Hitler had some good ideas, but then they'll like deny what should be the best idea he ever had for them and say it didn't happen.
When I first started, like, after October 7th, at some point when I was like posting things about how like this is crazy and the genocide, I got a lot of people being like, anti-Semitism. This is anti-Semitism. A lot of people like DM me, I don't think you're anti-Semitic, but I think anti-Semitism is pushing this narrative and you need to reflect on that and blah, blah, blah. And I told those people, I absolutely believe anti-Semitism plays a role in the Western world not wanting the Jews to do genocide. It doesn't make it the situation that they should be allowed to do genocide. But I absolutely agree with you that when certain white groups do a genocide, less people give a fuck.
Right.
I'm going to give you that.
It's like you're saying you're racist because you don't think black people can be serial killers. What do you tell? What? Like, what was that? What does one thing have to do with the other? You know what I mean? Like,
should be serial.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is very, it's like an absurd, but the absurd part of my personality, I'm an absurdist somewhere deep in my heart, is like very amused by watching the white supremacists celebrate Elon clearly doing a Heil Hitler, but also being like, look how many fucking Jews are right there. But that's like what's the role? What's the word? I mean, I definitely have the flu.
A cognitive dissonance.
When everything's bad and then that's a small consolation.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about Beyonce winning Best Country Album? That's something, man.
I mean, it's not like country. It's not like the last person who won Best Country Album was doing good country.
Right.
So I don't really give a shit.
I agree with that, but I will say openly that it's not good country. And anybody who says I'm racist for saying that, fuck you. But I completely agree with you. I doubt the last 7. I don't know who the last 7 country winners were, but I doubt they were good country.
I agree.
Too.
That's what I thought.
I couldn't agree more. Is that hers isn't good country?
I'm gonna look those up. Keep talking. I'm gonna see what they were. Just out of curiosity.
I do like Texas Hold'em. I've listened to the album. I tried a couple times.
Song.
I don't remember liking any other fucking song.
No.
That doesn't mean it's not country, but it was.
Or that it's
even fucking Morgan Wallen.
It also, that's what I'm saying. It also doesn't mean it's not good. Like, I don't think her stuff is good.
Was it Tyler Childers?
Well, let me see. I mean, I've only got the past 4, but 2 of the past 4 are legit. And I'm not saying the third one is it. I've heard of her, but I don't really know her. So this year was Beyonce. Last year was Lainey Wilson.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's hard like a truck.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
As soon as she got on Ozempic, I stopped liking her. So
then,
whatever.
before that,
somebody said she has dumps like a truck.
Before that was A Beautiful Time, an album by Willie Nelson in 2022, and then 2021 was Starting Over, Chris Stapleton.
Okay,
so
well that's fine.
Not as bad as I was expecting. I'm trying to find. Let's see, before that, Miranda Lambert. She
probably
qualifies.
Not great, probably not terrible.
Tanya Tucker.
Definitely. Wow. Miranda Lambert might not be great, but she definitely, it is country.
Is anyone else?
Dude, the Grammys have got a pretty good track record, really, because back before Tanya Tucker, it's Casey Musgraves, Chris Stapleton, Sturgill Simpson, Chris Stapleton again, Miranda Lambert again, Casey Musgraves again, then Zach Brown Band, then you got Lady Antebellum, Taylor Swift, and then you get back into George Strait, Vince Gill, Dixie Chicks, Allison Krauss.
So the Grammys are way better than the actual country music awards.
Pushback though, because
I'm
on behalf
surprised
of
by
our
that.
Mountain Dew brethren, as I look out the window, this feels to me like what they try to do in rap, where like when Macklemore wins it, the fact that I like a lot of the names and the albums you mentioned doesn't change the fact that really shows that the Grammys have no respect for the music of country, for the culture of country music, because you and I both know that like a lot of people would have heard that list and been like, all right, this is clearly someone who's like in California being like, legacy pick, Willie Nelson, Sturgill Simpson, that guy's experimental and sings about drugs. Like, it's like they're trying to give the award to something elevated because
Tanya
we don't
Tucker,
think what they do.
Come
You know what
back.
I'm saying?
Yeah. Also, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like Beyonce winning that, didn't she break the record for like all-time Grammys with that or something?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it.
Because, I mean, that could be at play, too. I don't give a shit, really. But, like, you know, I know they're not going to give it to the Turnpike Troubadours or something. So, like, may as well give it to Beyonce.
But anyway, let me say what I was trying to say in a different way. Which Sturgill record was it? Let me ask that before I do this point.
He's won a couple, I think.
Probably Metamodern and Sailors.
He only won Album of the Year one.
For Metamodern.
Well, this is the list of best country album, obviously, that I'm looking at, and it was Sailor's Guide to Earth.
That's what I thought. Now, I love Sailor's Guide.
It rules. It's awesome.
But we were talking about, our thing here was we were like, you know, it's not really country, but neither's Morgan Wallen. That wasn't a country record, boys. That had the Dap Kings on it.
You don't think Sailor's Guide was I mean, it had some Southern rock to it, but what do you mean?
What do I mean? What I mean? The record, he made it with the Dap Kings. It's a soul album.
The brass
That's
section.
fair. That is fair. That's fair. You know
and
what
I
it
loved
is?
it. And you were allowed to do that, and that's why Beyonce's allowed to do that. My point is simply that our response to this still stands. They are giving it to whatever the hip thing is to do.
Right.
The fact that I love some of them,
Yeah.
and then I don't this one is fine. Both are fine.
You know what it is that Sturgill has such Waylon Jennings qualities, and one of my favorite quotes from Waylon is somebody asked Waylon one time, they said, what makes a song country? And he says, if I sing it. You know?
I could be wrong, but I think that's a Sturgill Simpson quote.
Okay, mate. Okay, well, whatever.
Well, I mean, if Waylon Jennings said it, then it has to be Waylon first, right? Because he's older.
No, I'm saying
He's saying I misattributed.
Maybe
I thought it was. I'd always heard that it was Waylon, and because Waylon said that, I've always kind of felt the same way about Sturgill. That like, kind of no matter what genre he's doing, because his voice is an instrument for country in a way, because he's got a country voice. You know, a lot of people that sing country don't necessarily have a country voice. They're playing banjos and stuff, but his voice is like undeniably like, that's our region, that's our culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I feel like this is not, and I have a lot of opinions on the fever, and I feel like this is not appropriate because I'm going to get soundbited. I'm happy Beyonce won it because A, fuck the Grammys, and B, fuck all the people in Nashville. But what I guess I'm trying to say is I do feel like the Grammys is sort of like hipsterdom when it comes to country
Sure.
and rap. And sometimes I dig that shit. Doechii won Rap Album of the Year. It's my favorite rap album in 3 years. So I'm not complaining that that's what they're doing. I'm just saying that the list you gave me doesn't disprove my general outlook, which is that the Grammys pick country in a hipstery way.
Well, also, let's not discount the fact that just because it's not as popular and it's not like adjacent to our industry, therefore we don't care about it. Let's not act like that there's not a ton of campaigning that goes on. You know what I mean?
Dave Chappelle's never not won the Grammy for
Spoken
comedy
word.
album,
Yeah.
including is it called spoken word / comedy?
I think
so, yeah.
I think so, because they make exceptions for certain things. And now with Dave Chappelle, they have to call it spoken word, in my opinion.
That undermines the complaint I was about.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead. Say.
No, I was going to complain that, like, in spite of the fact that at least 2 of his fucking albums that won the Grammy weren't comedy at all. But
Right.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Well, that's your complaint. I'll tell you what my big complaint is. There's too damn many subscriptions out here, guys. Am I right? We got way too many things you guys subscribe to. You so many you forget. Every little thing you find, every little app you find, you end up subscribing to it, and then months later it might as well have never even happened. But you can use Rocket Money to remind yourself of those subscriptions you have and don't need anymore. Rocket Money reminded me that I was still paying for this app where I could put Corey's face onto gifts of like pigs or those goofy twins from Tim Burton movies, or
you got a lot of miles out of it,
dancing fat ladies and things like that. So, yes, I did get a lot of miles of it, but it kind of fell out of fashion months ago. Forgot I even had it, and I've been paying for it this whole time. And Rocket Money reminded me, and I was like, oh, damn, I guess I'll get rid of that. I don't need that anymore. We all got things like that, and Rocket Money can help with those. Especially, how it is, you sign up for something, you forget about it, and then you keep getting charged month after month after month. And 85% of people have at least one paid subscription that goes unused each month. And I bet you, listener, are one of them. But thanks to Rocket Money, you can see all of those subscriptions in one place, and you can cancel the ones you're not using anymore, which will obviously help you save money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. You can see all of your subscriptions in one place. You know exactly where your money is going. If you don't want one of them anymore, Rocket Money can help you cancel it. All right. They've got a great dashboard, gives you a clear view of expenses across all of your different accounts. You can create your own personalized budget with custom categories. You can get alerts if things go up in price, if there's unusual spending activity, things like that. They have a new goals feature, so you can set goals and help you save money and pay off credit card debt and things of that nature. And Rocket Money can even help negotiate lower bills for you. They automatically scan your bills to find opportunities to save. Then you can ask them to negotiate on your behalf. They'll deal with customer service, so you don't have to. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/WellRed today. That's rocketmoney.com/WellRed. rocketmoney.com/WellRed. Make it hit.
Today's WellRed podcast is sponsored by Squarespace. Squarespace is an online tool, an online platform, an all-in-one website for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online, where you can create your own website. Whether you're starting out or managing a growing brand, Squarespace will make it easy for you to create a beautiful website, engage with your audience, and sell anything from products to content to time, all in one place, all on your own terms. Now, you guys have heard me talk about it on here before. I'm very open to the fact that I use Squarespace to run my own website. Why do I do that? Because I'm internet dumb. They've got a lot of features on there that I like. At the top, I'm going to start with their flexible website templates, which is a funny way of saying, I meant to say a fancy way of saying that they have a bunch of templates where I can just pick, this is what I want my website to look like. I'm not a designer, but my website looks good. Why? Because they got all these cool templates. They're professional looking. They got designs for every category, and you can customize your look. You can update your content, and you can add features to fit your unique needs. They also have the ability for you to create an online store. You can customize your own merch with them. That saves time. You can design your products, your production. You can do your inventory. The shipping's handled for you all there, so it'll save you money. So whether you sell physical, digital, or service products, Squarespace has the tools you need to start selling online. So head over to squarespace.com right now for a free trial. When you're ready to launch, go to www.squarespace.com/WellRed to save 10% on your first purchase of a website or domain. We really appreciate Squarespace.
Yeah, Squarespace super does hit, because I also am internet dumb. By the way, this ain't the little itty bitty teeny tiny bowl. This is the Super Bowl, baby, and you need to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. 59, good Lord, man. I've seen so many of them. Scoring touchdowns is key to hoisting the Vince Lombardi trophy, and you have a shot to score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Dude, listen, I'm not telling you what to do. All I know is every time I've ever bet on Patrick Mahomes, I have it's been a good day. Last year, I made $1,700 doing a Patrick Mahomes only, exclusive Patrick Mahomes 5-leg parlay. It was like Patrick Mahomes to score more than 2 touchdowns to get this many yards, whatever. I bet on it. It's just the thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code WellRed. That's code WellRed for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Make it hit. Fucking nailed that shit.
Absolutely. We're talking earlier about people that are good at everything. I saw clips from the Grammy. Who was it? I think it might have been Louis, but there was definitely a famous comedian that had a whole bit about how it totally makes sense that so many singers, like hitting singers and musicians, are like gorgeous, right? Do y'all remember that? And also what his angle was? How did he? Because to me, it's wild. That's kind of what I was going to bring up. Is like, how come so many? I mean, I guess it's like so many people want to be stars that it's like, in order to be a star, you either have to be like preternaturally otherworldly talented and look kind of like shit. You got to be, John Popper of Blues Traveler or whatever.
Right.
Remember Susan Boyle?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Or
one hit,
or like, be good, but also be gorgeous and shredded, and that's how you become a star.
That's
in the
why
first
you don't
place. Like it's
remember
confirmation bias or survivorship bias or whatever they call it.
It's going to happen in comedy. It already is.
You're right. It is happening in comedy, but it's. So I guess that's all it is. It's not really that hard to explain. So many people want to have that job, and
they're going to
competition
pick
is
the most
so
beautiful
stiff
ones.
That the only way to do it is to also be beautiful while attempting to do it, unless you're one of the 1% of the 1% who's just on another level and still looks like shit.
Yeah, Pavarotti.
Yeah.
For instance.
All of our fat brothers out to Pavarotti and Jelly Roll and fucking Meatloaf, and John Popper and all these, some of those guys. And then I'm sure there's, there's the ugly geniuses, Tom Waits.
Tom Waits. I was about to say Tom Waits because he can't even sing.
No, right. Bob Dylan can.
He was kind of Adam Driver hot in his day.
Tom Waits definitely is a type. He's definitely
he's a vagabond.
And he had his head down, and he was real funny, but you could see his cheekbones. You know what I mean? Like women will hang on to something like that.
Dude, he's hilarious.
Also, he was never like it's not like he was a pop star either. You know what I mean?
No,
that's a good point.
I'm pretty sure Tom Waits is the one who coined the phrase, "I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy." I think he came up with that.
I believe you're right about that.
Which is so good.
Big.
I saw this clip that made it onto Reddit of a guy who, of course, I had never heard of before that moment from the Grammys. A kid, I say kid, he's 22.
That's a kid, bro.
Benson Boone, y'all know that kid?
No idea. Sounds like a redneck.
Apparently, he does sound like one. I don't know what he is or where he's from. He's got sort of a half mullet thing going on or whatever.
That's just popular now.
I know that. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't know. But what I do know is he's ripped all the shit. And the clip was of him doing a front flip off of a piano while singing or whatever.
Oh, that's the dude that sings that, please take these beautiful things that guy. I saw that clip.
I don't know, but apparently he was nearly an Olympian, or it was very close to being some kind of Olympian, like that level and then found out, I can sing.
Right.
and then now he's doing
just flips
at the Grammys.
Scream and
I think a little bit of both. I think he reached his ceiling in whatever his athletic pursuit was.
Well, there's you another. But go ahead.
I found out today that Caleb guy from Barstool, who I don't fuck with Barstool.
The
but
blonde-headed
he
dude that's
Yeah,
but I
hilarious.
saw him
long-haired,
separately.
but
He's so funny.
And like, I just followed him. He's like played quarterback for North Carolina.
What?
Yeah, but like was
Checks
the
out.
backup, I think.
I
Didn't play much.
Never would have thought that.
And was like, oh, this ain't it.
Right.
But
He's-
something will be.
Yeah. No, I think another
Somebody lied, but
Well,
I
you-
saw a picture, so maybe I got AI'd.
Well, that's a thing too with like, this guy could have been Olympian or whatever. Like, not always, because some people blow up overnight, but then you never see these people again, right? Like being at the tippy top and being in the arts, like requires a sometimes psychotic level of dedication, even when everyone else thinks you're going to fail. You know what I'm saying? So like that, that do be happening. I feel like good looking people might have more confidence than fatties, so they just go. You know what I mean? Obviously,
They get treated better too. It gives them more confidence. They
Right.
say things like, "I'm going to be X, Y, and Z," and
Exactly.
people don't go, okay.
well, they look
And
in
that
the
feels good.
they look in the mirror and go, "Why wouldn't I?" You know what I mean? And so they just keep being like, "You can't tell me I don't hit. I do hit." And again, I'm not saying that there's not hideous people that are super dedicated. There are. I'm just saying it makes sense to me that
Such a wide range of humans between hideous and really hot. Before it was like, look, I'm not saying some of these motherfuckers I seen ain't hideous.
Hey,
Some of them,
I'm hideous and I'm determined. You know what I
they're
mean?
not hideous. There's such a wide range.
I'm hideous.
This turns out
inter-
this dude's a Mormon, by the way. So
see,
not
that's
it.
Like the flips.
yeah, right. I know they're always
we've
like
gone
that.
through this.
They are
We've gone
athletic
through this
people.
before.
We
Yeah,
have.
because
they ain't got nothing else to do, right?
They
yeah.
can't. It's like, fuck, I can't drink a Coke. I better somersault. God damn,
Yeah.
They got some Mormon swingers on TikTok. Andy told me all about it, but that's like a 2-year-old story. Are we going to talk about the government dissolving into nothing?
What are we gonna do about that? What Mormon swingers? Hold on,
I
like,
know.
but they
Well,
so that's people who like,
they
that's-
do the soaking thing, or
but they're
like, do
wait,
they have a
are they
loophole to get
married?
around their rules, or they
If
just
they're
say
married,
fuck
they
the
can
rules?
bang.
Loophole. Listen, this is a 2-year-old story. I think the loophole is like the Bible defines marriage as whatever the man and the woman want it. Like, if you and your husband want to do this and you're married, then
It's
you
fine.
can do it.
right,
It's not out. It's not sex outside of marriage.
right.
It's inside of
You're
marriage.
doing it together, right?
Yeah.
No, actually, I mean that kind of makes sense. Like, I mean, first off, like I don't
You
be
gotta hand it to them.
I don't be following the Bible when it comes to what my wiener wants to do. Never have, never will. However, it's like, yeah, I mean, if you're both in and you're both still loving each other, like, what's wrong with
I
that?
think I've told this story on here before, but I've had someone have that conversation with me. I had a woman. I have this joke about me and Andy having a threesome, and when I would tell it on stage, I told that for about 1.5 years, maybe even 2, and I would have a lot of people talk to me about various. Not everyone was hitting on me, but that opened up a lot of conversations of people being like, "I'm actually poly, I don't know, whatever." I had a lot of swingers approach me because of that. I
Yeah.
had a woman talk to me about it, and she had a giant cross on, and I said, "Hey, this is genuinely coming from a place of curiosity. I got to know. You're telling me you and your husband swing. That's cool. Good for you guys. I also see that cross. It doesn't look like hip. It looks like it means something to you. Are you a Christian and a swinger? And if so, tell me about that." And she said the same thing.
It goes against everything you think, because you're like Christian, especially Catholicism. You're like, anything that hits, we can't do that. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not sure swinging hits, but
Well, you wouldn't do it if it didn't.
like
though.
as you guys know, I'm a freak. I believe group sex hits, and I'm not trying to shit on people who swing. I'm not one of these people who's trying to be like, ooh, fuck those. I'm just not. It doesn't seem like a lot of happy people are involved in it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I didn't go to the right meetup.
I mean, I
But,
couldn't agree more. It all seems insane to me, but I respect everyone's right to do it.
But I'm saying, like, to piggyback off your point, like, yeah, like, I think the relevant Bible verses are like, sex should be inside of the marriage. It's really not that insane to be like, well, we define that as us having sex as married people together.
I mean,
Like, that's really not that wild of a take. It only is in puritanical America. That's like the sort of like, what is really reflective of the culture we're raised in or whatever. I feel like in Europe, everybody'd be like, yeah, Bible says that. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, and dude, again, like, if you're gonna, the biggest thing that Christians do is pick and choose which parts of the Bible they fuck with. So why not do it in an instance where it could hit for you?
Literally the ones we fuck with.
Yeah, right. Of course. Yeah, I mean, also, like, there's some people that, like, interpret the Bible's meaning of sodomy as, like, any type of sex that's not just purely missionary is, you know, sodomy, and therefore you can't do it. And it's like, well, that's insane.
I want to ask Drew his take on something. I think it was either a week he wasn't here.
Sodomy and
kind of, sort of. But
Gomorrah got off the hook, by the way, in that whole deal.
yeah, it's not called Gomorrah. It's just, but
me and Donnie Marsh had a hidden TikTok that went viral about that once.
me and Corey were on either here or maybe it was POA. I don't remember talking once about like kink shaming, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, what does that mean exactly? Meaning like, my opinion is that as long as it's among consenting adults and everybody's down with it and it ain't hurting nobody, you know, then I don't care what anybody does and think they should have the right to do so, and it's their thing. But also, I can be like, ugh.
Yeah, we have the right to do that.
You know, like if it don't hit for me,
Yeah,
like I could be like, I don't. Why are you doing that? And is that like kink? I'm not allowed to have that opinion. I just got to keep it to myself.
Well, I guess my question to you would, the way I feel about that, this is how I feel about like sort of the pronoun conversation. Any of that stuff is like, if you were a teacher and you had 8th grade students, how would you ask them to act about how people feel about themselves in the world if it wasn't hurting anyone? In other words, if you were teaching 8th graders and one of them said, I'm trans, and the other one went, ugh, and then you say, could you defend it the way you just did? Could you be like, well, that's just his personal opinion. He thinks it's gross. Or do you kind of feel like, well, wait a minute, I think I need to teach these 8th graders that that's actually a shameful, like you're shaming someone when you respond to that.
I think the important part is Trae's on your team, though. Like, Trae's cool with you doing it.
I wouldn't do that to a person's, like, I wouldn't just be like, oh, you fucking, that's gross. I just mean, like, if it comes up in conversation, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know what them motherfuckers are about. But, like,
I don't think that's kink shaming. I don't.
Right, because, like,
but in terms of, like, where's the line? I mean, I really think it's just about, like, acting with manners, right?
Right,
yeah.
But like, to me, it feels like there is or should be a difference between like a person being trans is like that's their identity as a person versus like this is the way I come the hardest.
Yeah,
well, also
it's like you can't.
Right. That's not really anything about who
I'm
you are
sure
as a
you could
person.
defend that distinction very easily. You can by leaning into how we should be more respectful of trans people, but I think that would be cowardly. Respectfully, explain to me why it's okay to. I mean, not like in a woke way, like I'm mad at you. I'm just saying intellectually, I'm not sure you can defend the position you just stated.
I can.
People like to dress up as clowns and fuck each other's butts, and I make fun of that. That's the same thing as being like, trans people.
You're allowed
weird.
to make fun of it. That's not the same thing as shaming. Those are very different words.
I feel like if you make fun of it, people would say, don't kink shame. Maybe
but those are like, yes, this gets back to my point. My honest feeling on this is like, how would you expect your 8th graders to act? And like, if they're ribbing their friends or whatever, you might be like, hey, lay off, but you wouldn't make a big deal about it. Whereas if they were being like really disrespectful, you'd be like, that's disrespectful. You're a comedian, dog. Like,
also there's not a huge percentage of people who like to dress up with clowns and get butt fucked. So like, you're not running a lot of people off, but also like, I kind of feel about it the same way I feel about.
That shouldn't have any bearing on this particular conversation.
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
What is kink shaming then?
Well, like,
just saying.
I guess my thing is, to me, it's all about like you can't help what your initial reaction to something is. It's kind of like, you hear a racist joke, and oh, sorry, Bane just came up here crying. You hear a racist joke. You can't help if right after you hear the punchline, you go, huh, but then right after you left, you go, wow, that was fucked up. You know what I mean? That was fucked up, whatever. What I'm saying is like, it's what you do with that knowledge afterwards. So like, I don't, if I'm just talking to someone and they hit me all of a sudden, they're just like, yeah, so I like for my wife to dress up in all leather and stomp my balls out with a Lodge cast iron skillet. I don't have it in me to just go, hey, right up. Like, I'm going to go, what the and then after that, I'll go, well, whatever, if that's what you're into.
Yeah, no, I think everything you guys are saying makes sense. I think the disconnect for me, maybe, in terms of like Trace sort of giving me the face of like, wait, I don't get what you mean or whatever. I just feel like if you make jokes about what someone likes to do sexually, consenting with another adult, or no, more to the point, if you go, ooh, even if you didn't mean to, like, it just like was a natural reaction and that's truly how you feel, it's hard for that not to fit within most people's definition of kink shaming. My argument is that doesn't make you the worst person in the world. We have to get to, this goes bigger than kink shaming. We have to get to a place where we understand that someone being like, there's something wrong with these goddamn furries, and if they come around my fucking kids, I'm shooting one of them, and those people kind of freak me out. There's a huge difference there, but I do think you have to define kink, personally, I think you have to define kink shaming kind of broadly, but maybe you're right, Trae. Maybe like, in order for society to be more healthy, we need a new word. Maybe there's like kink ribbing or kink, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know what I'm
Kink
saying?
joshing.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just kink joshing here.
Yeah.
Let's have a kink conversation.
I'm going to try to do a bit about it. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like, I never kink shame, but I can kink Josh a little bit, right? Like,
Let's open up a kink dialogue. You know
Like-
what I mean? And
well, here, I'll go further. If you like to do poop stuff,
yeah, okay, I was about to get
I
there.
think that's gross.
Yeah, it is.
But I don't think you should be ashamed of it.
I do, kind of. A
Okay.
little bit.
Let me finish before you're allowed to say that, but let me finish. But I understand that if I say that's gross publicly, shame is probably what you will feel. I recognize that.
There has to be a
I'm
line.
not going to say anything different. I might learn to keep my mouth shut, but I think that's what you're getting at, Trae, is like, that's just how I feel. It makes me feel gross. But I do acknowledge that saying that would probably make someone feel ashamed.
Part of
Fuck
me
'em.
kind of agrees with that old great Norm bit about how like just sex is fucking
It's
shit.
gross.
Yeah,
It's
like,
all
it's
gross.
Like you put,
I can't believe
you
I
fucking
did that.
close the blinds after
Yes.
you're like, oh god, it's
And let
fucking
me-
it
let me be Gen
stinks.
X
It's
for a
you
second.
turn into animals. It's nasty. So it's like
Smells.
you know what
Let
I
me-
mean. It's all
100%.
kind of like that. So
Let me make one point. Let me be Gen X for a second, too. And then Corey had a bit about this, sort of, or a line in another bit. Some comic had a bit about this. It doesn't matter. These kids are trying to get rid of all the shame. They're going to stop coming if they do.
Right, that's true.
So
yeah.
understand
Yeah,
that
yeah.
a big part of it is
Shame.
that it grosses everyone out.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so, like, we've got to do this balance of letting kids know you don't need to be fucking think you're suicidal or you're a freak that can never find love because only one thing makes you come. But understand that if the rest of us just say we're okay with it, now you won't have a single thing that makes
Right,
you
like they've made eating ass too popular. Like I lick buttholes, and I
Corey
know
can't
it's
even eat
gross.
ass anymore. Is this what you got wanted?
Well, I mean, I can, but it's just like I know, and everyone's like fine with
You
it.
kink
Ugh.
fried Corey out of his fucking
Yes,
kink.
but like I know that that's gross. And if someone was like, "Oh, you eat buttholes, that's gross," I'd be like, "You are so correct in thinking that. I agree with you." Like, but I feel like me, who likes to lick butthole, shouldn't be arm in arm with the guy who freezes shards of shit and fucks his wife in the ass with it. We're different people. You know what I mean? Like there's levels, and that's
But again, we
gross,
realized
and
the
he's
other day,
weird.
so that's a real example that we all heard that Corey just gave. It's not just, it doesn't just go one way. What we heard was it's a couple who freezes their poop and fucks each other's butts with it. And the thing about that is, those people probably have much better gut health than any of us three. 'Cause
That's
it's
true.
probably actually physically beneficial to be
It's a poop
fucked up the
transplant.
butt with a turd. Yeah, because people be doing that. You'd be taking other people's poop, shoving it up your butt, and that like hits.
It does hit.
on a medical
Rich
level,
people do it all the
apparently.
time.
Like I need somebody else's poop real bad.
Me too.
As you guys know, I've been begging Andy for a poop in a non-kinky way.
She won't do it.
She is disgusted by it, which I now realize I need to frame as kink shaming.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Couldn't you just
Tell her it
couldn't-
makes
could
you hard.
Could you just like scoop a little bit of poop and just sort of shove it up
and
your
shove
butt?
it up your butt.
When?
Well, get her a litter box. She'll do it. Tell her it's pop. It's cool now.
Just distract her. Tell her, I don't know, when she's pooping, you got to do something that makes her run out of there without flushing it, and then you go in there and steal one of her
I think that
turds.
nigga around there without flushing it would
As
be
if you-
something about rising.
And
if
you're not
it's
going to do
full.
that. Yeah, I agree, but I don't know.
Turn
Tell
the
her
wa- hold on,
Stevie
turn-
Nicks is giving a press conference on the
Turn your
TV.
water off.
Fucking-
Do you know when she shits? Like, did she have a regular situation? Because you could
Ish. Yeah,
you
it's like before 11.
go
It's
turn
plotting the heist to steal
well,
his
I'm
wife's
just saying,
turds.
go-
It's fun. The
go
great
turn-
turd heist.
turn the water off. Turn all
What
the
a
water off in the
caper.
house, and then right before you know she's gonna poop, go flush, and it gets it takes that
Okay.
flush away. Then she
Right.
poops.
That's
She's like,
enough.
"Fuck."
That's enough. Just stop. Let me just say, it was gross. It was a specific thing about my wife. I didn't like it. I'm allowed
kindness shaming.
All right, well, hold on. Let me just say, everyone grossed out right now listening who's like, Jesus Christ. You were getting a little self-righteous about the kink shaming earlier.
Yeah.
Now who's the wrong person? Here's the thing about our crowd, though. This is the one thing they're not fucking super far left on. These motherfuckers hate sex, dog.
Yeah,
Right.
Because they're all.
Yeah, well, I'm kind. It's not. I don't hate sex, but I'm also. I mean, I'm very. I'm really. I'm pretty.
I'm
big
very
prude.
vanilla.
But I don't hate for me. I just am. But I just
want to come.
Did y'all ever like? And y'all know I was a townie. I grew up in like town, but in a small redneck town, but in the town part. Did y'all ever find like an opening to a sewer and watch like turds go down there?
Oh,
like yeah, that used to be a thing we'd do. Like sit at its opening to a sewer and like count turds going by.
That's a lot. That's how you learn to count.
That's what we did for fun. It's a lot. Yeah.
One, two, three.
I made just a joke once in one of my videos about me and my.
I'll use such an apology for all the fucking slander about having a Dairy Queen and shit, because you just hit a level.
I made a joke once in one of my videos about, I said, you know, me and my dirt buddies playing our poop games or whatever when I was a kid, and I didn't realize when I said that like, well, that literally was true. There were poop games. There was this one you could like it was in like the projects where my grandma lived, and you get the cover off of it, and you know it was so it's like apartment complex. Everybody that flushed it like came down through there, so it's like you could watch turds go by the sewer. We get in the sewer, we're animals. We're just
I cannot believe they didn't give us a TV show.
Down.
These fucking morons didn't let us make a TV show, and it is the dumbest. I'm so angry about it.
Me and Bobby Joe down on the bridge, counting all the turds going off of the ledge. Just another day in Salina, USA.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's the truth.
Did you guys ever count turds for Jesus?
Oh my God, man! I hadn't thought about that in years.
That's so fucking funny.
That made me like, I'm out of breath.
Did you ever look
and not just laughing so hard. Just the concept of counting turds took my breath away.
Did you ever look at your buddy's butthole, see if you could see a fart coming out?
Oh yeah, no, we did that. Yeah, we did that. And you could count the rings to see how old they were.
We just want to know, like, can you see a fart? Like, does a butt? We want to know if a butt like shut, like move.
It does. Yeah, and
don't you remember that fan sent us a slow-mo video?
Yeah, I remember that
farting. Oh yeah,
yeah. You remember
that?
Gay
couple. And one of the men
yes,
the other one.
I do. Yeah, because we talked about this before. I brought this up before. That's right.
After a show, they got our email and they were like, check this out. And it was just their asshole farting. And I mean, it did hit. It was funny. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's funny. Like, I don't know, man. Like, buttholes, depending on who they are, like, they hit for me either way. You know what I mean? If they're on a man, it's hilarious. And if they're on a woman, let me get in there. You know what I mean? So.
Well, that Norm bit, I had a bit, and I was working it out, and I got rid of it because I heard a better one with a slightly different thing. I had a bit about, like, butt sex is so gross till you're horny.
Yeah, right.
That's how, well, not everything, but I mean, kind of anything. It's like, it's like even as like when you're a kid, you first start jacking off, and it's like every time, as soon as you get done, you're like, oh, God.
I still get that way because
I think most
Yeah.
people do, but it's like that with not with like your just regular sex with your wife, but anything remotely freaky, it's like,
even though I still kind of can't look at Amber the same for a couple hours after we bang. You know what I mean?
So you know it's good.
That's
son.
Exactly.
Real quick, let me say shout out Chance Willie, who is why I got rid of the joke. He had this great joke, and it was clean and simple and way more to the point where he just goes, being horny's weird, because if I'm not horny and you spit in my mouth, we're fighting.
Yeah.
But if I'm horny...
Anyway. Yep, I was about to bring mouth spitting up, but I guess we'll just get out of here instead. We've done run everybody off. Talking about poop.
Corey, you're muted.
Okay, all right. I thought I did.
My bad. I was muted because I was saying my baby's crying like a sumbitch back here, so y'all plug your shit, and then I'll plug mine. I'm going to keep myself muted so you don't hear it.
All right. Well,
your wife with your baby? Or
no, she's working at the meeting 3 tonight, so with the
go get your baby.
He's fine. He's in a cage.
Yeah, where they belong. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I already plugged everything. Just go trackcrowder.com and, come see me soon.
Athens, Georgia, February 16th. Me and the Cho back to back.
That's right, baby. Can't wait. Also, hey, WeLoveCorey.com. That's where I do my bonus stuff. You got like well over 200 hours of audio and video exclusive to you. Less than $1 a month, and you get to send my little crying child to college. And come see us, CoreyRyanForrester.com, Atlanta, Charleston. Thank you all for listening to the WellRed Show. We'd love to stick around longer, but we got to go. Tune in next week if you got nothing to do. Thank you. God bless you. Good night and skill. Fart, fart.
Rednecks, but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. We collected from our love of Downton Abbey. We collected, we found out we're both so fancy. Hey, what's the difference between rednecks and royal families? Only money, cause they both have sex with family. Ew. Putting on airs. What other rednecks will talk about foreign affairs? Laughing so hard that we end up falling out our chairs. Sir Trae, Sir Corey, oh what a pair. High class topics with a redneck flair, oh yeah. Two rednecks but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. Two rednecks but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. Okay, it's Team Squirrel or Team Trae. Oh yeah, we keeping it basic. He thinks that the squirrels at Corey's mom's house are racist. And you know squirrels live in the same place for generations. So Trae, you better count your days and you better count your blessings. Cause all the squirrels that you ran over, that you think are nameless, faceless, their families are getting together and plotting on you from the attic and basement. So even though Corey is dumb, fat, and bald, he knows how to avoid drama, don't get squirrels involved. Two rednecks but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. Two rednecks but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on